Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. First up was Christmas Eve. My husband and I have kind of started our own little tradition where it's usually on Christmas Eve, sometimes Christmas Day, depending on what we're doing with extended family, but we'll have a steak and lobster tail dinner. So let me show you how I put this together. First up, the lobster tails. Now, what I always do is watch the sales at my grocery store, and I get them when they're on sale, and they usually mark them down right around New Year's and Christmas, which is perfect timing. So what I did was I took some kitchen shears, I cut down the back of the lobster tail, loosened up the meat, pulled it out. I seasoned the meat with some salt, pepper, and paprika, and then I'm going to make a little bit of seasoned butter to brush on the lobster tail, and I just added the same seasoning. So melted a little bit of butter, added some salt, pepper, and paprika. Now to cook these, normally I broil them, but I saw on Instagram a few weeks ago where Jet Tila said he loves to cook lobster tails in the air fryer, and so I did that this year. I cooked them at 390 degrees for about 7 to 9 minutes. It just depends on how big your lobster tails are done, and I did baste them with that butter halfway through the cooking. A few days before this, my husband and I were out and about, and we came across a little butcher shop, and we went in there, and they had oysters that had come in from Prince Edward Island, and so he got just a couple to try. I don't like raw oysters, and he wanted just a couple, so I figured I would go ahead and set them out for this night. I had never shucked raw oysters before, but it actually wasn't that bad. I just looked it up on the internet, and all I did was take a flathead screwdriver. I did wash it thoroughly before and after, and I just looked at the oyster, found the hinge, popped them open, and then that was it. So I just served that on some ice with some cocktail sauce and saltine crackers for him. And then for the steak, I had some strip steaks in our freezer that I needed to use up. Strip steaks are our favorite cut. I just seasoned it pretty generously on both sides with some kosher salt, pepper, and then today I used the Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning. Just cooked it in my skillet until it was done to our liking, and then let it rest for a few minutes before I sliced it up. And for our side dish, I just put together a quick salad. This is arugula, dried cranberries, candied pecans, crumbled goat cheese, and then the Ken's honey balsamic vinaigrette. And here are the finished lobster tails. These were so good. And then we've got the oysters, the cocktail sauce and crackers I mentioned. And then here is a picture of my plate. We just had a few slices of the steak, the lobster tails, and the salad, and it was delicious. The next day was Christmas Day, and I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to show you everything that we had on Christmas Day instead of just our dinner. So first up, breakfast. I've mentioned this many times before my channel. Christmas morning breakfast is probably my favorite Christmas memory that I have. I remember waking up at my grandparents', and I would hear my mom and my granny in the kitchen, and they lived in an old plantation house, and so they had a wood-burning stove, and I remember smelling the wood burning. And then, because it was a wood-burning stove, not all of the house was warm. And so I would sit there and kind of dread getting up at first because I just knew that the floors were going to be so cold. But it's one of my favorite memories. After waking up, we would have a country ham breakfast. And my grandmother would make biscuits, country ham, sausage, bacon, eggs, and then we'd have chocolate gravy and white gravy. Now, if you've never heard of chocolate gravy before, don't knock it till you try it. It is delicious. It's the best way I know how to describe it is it's almost like a warm chocolate pudding almost, just not with the same super thick consistency. It's a little thinner consistency. But I've shared how I make this before on my channel. I'll link it down in the description box below for you. Now, with it being just Gary and I eating breakfast this morning, I didn't go all out like Granny and Mom used to do, but I did biscuits and gravy and the country ham and some scrambled eggs. Now, for my country ham biscuit, I like to add some honey to it. It kind of counteracts the country ham. And if you're not familiar with country ham, it is a very, very salty cured meat. So when I warm it up, I always add some water to it to kind of draw out that salt, and then the honey balances out really nicely. But this was delicious, so good. For Christmas dinner, my mom and dad and my 3 siblings came over, and we ate. We did eat a little bit early because both of us, or really all of us, did a Christmas brunch, so we didn't really eat lunch. So we had dinner, and I made a lamb roast, and if I do say so myself, it was thebomb.com. It was so good. I took a boneless leg of lamb roast. I seasoned the outside with olive oil, kosher salt, pepper, dried rosemary, and dried thyme. And I took a little knife and put some slits in the lamb roast and added some garlic slivers. And then I just baked it until it was done to our liking, let it rest, slice it up. I served it with some mint jelly, and we also brought out some horseradish that my dad and Gary ate with it, and they really liked that. And then I wasn't sure if everybody would like lamb, so I just took a few chicken breasts, seasoned it with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika, and cooked it in the air fryer. And then I took a couple cans of corn and just warmed it up with some butter, salt, and pepper. I made some roasted Brussels sprouts and glazed carrots, which I've shared before on my channel. I'll link those videos down below. I made a Hashbrown Casserole and then just warmed up some of these brown and serve rolls with some butter. And then I was going to make a rice pilaf as another side, but I realized last minute I didn't have all of the ingredients, so I just made the same salad that I'd made the night before for our Christmas Eve dinner. Normally when I do dinners with my family, I just set everything out on the counters and, we just serve ourselves. But I kind of wanted to do more of a family style sit down dinner for Christmas. I know this isn't Pinterest worthy at all, but I tried to make it a little nice for us and, set out some napkins and stuff like that. And we had a really nice dinner. It was delicious. After dinner, we visited for a little bit, opened presents, and then I set out some snacks for us to graze on while we watched Christmas movies. I made ham pinwheels. These are so easy. They're basically 2 ingredients. I've shared these before. I'll link that video down below. I made some spinach dip, set out some crackers, and then some sliced cheese, summer sausage, olives, and gherkins. I made some bacon wrap crackers, which I've also shared before on my channel. I'll link that video down below. And then a couple days before this, I'd made some quick queso. It's just Velveeta, a can of Rotel, and a can of Hormel chili. So I warmed that up for tonight, set out some tortilla chips to go with that. Next, I made some sausage balls. I had some that I'd previously made in the freezer, so I just let those thaw and I warmed them up. It's basically your traditional recipe, just ground sausage, Bisquick, shredded cheddar cheese. I like to add in a little bit of cold water. I feel like that adds some moisture. Sausage balls to me can kind of be a little dry sometimes. And then for the other half of the batch, I tried a new recipe. I used the breakfast sausage, and then I used the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit mix, as well as some jalapeno pimento cheese, and then baked those just like the sausage balls. And both of these were yummy. For our sweet treats, I made my fruit dip, some microwave peanut brittle, and then chocolate dipped pretzels and peanut butter crackers. I've shared all of this before on my channel. I'll link those videos down below. And then several days before this, my husband and I had gotten a strawberry cheesecake from a local baker, and I know my little sister loves cheesecake, so I went ahead and set that out for her. But really, for everybody, I just kind of wanted it to get eaten. But anyway, this was so nice. It was such a good evening. I hope you and your family, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you all had a great Christmas. So after all the cooking and cleaning up and preparing for and all that of Christmas, I was just like, this night I am not cooking. I want to go grab something. So we went to just a little local mom and pop restaurant, and we got their burgers and fries. And I don't know what they do to their hamburgers, y'all, but they are delicious. They are so, so good. So that was our dinner this night, and I got a break from cooking. It was perfect. For dinner the next night, I made brown sugar chili chicken. This recipe comes from Tamara at Southern Wife Everyday Life. I'll link her channel down below. And I know I've shared this before on my channel, but it is so incredibly easy and delicious. I wanted to share it again. You just need a couple of ingredients. I've got some chicken tenders. You could also use chicken breasts and just slice them into pieces. I've got some bacon. Now for this recipe, I would not recommend you using a thick cut bacon at all. You just want to use regular thinly sliced bacon. You're also going to need some brown sugar as well as chili powder. All we're going to do is combine the chili powder and the brown sugar together. I'm going to take a piece of bacon, wrap it around each chicken tender, and then dredge it in that brown sugar chili powder mixture. I like to place this on an aluminum foil lined baking dish, and then I bake this at 350 degrees for maybe about 17 to 20 minutes. Just cook it until the chicken is at least 165 degrees. For the side dish tonight, I made Kristen Stepp's dad's Vegetable Casserole. I made this for the first time a couple months ago, and it was so delicious. I've been wanting to make it again, so I will link my video as well as her video down in the description box below. It is delicious. Highly recommend. The only thing I did differently this time is instead of using fresh potatoes, I had a can of diced potatoes in my pantry I wanted to use up, so I just used that instead. And quick note, I forgot to mention, before I wrapped the chicken in bacon, I did season the chicken with just a little bit of salt. But here are the plates. This was delicious. Both of these recipes, I highly, highly recommend you give them a try. Dinner the next night was off meal plan a little bit, but I had a chicken breast left over from our Christmas dinner that I wanted to use up, and I didn't really feel like cooking a lot this night, so I decided to do a barbecue chicken salad. I didn't follow the recipe exactly, but I used Damn Delicious's recipe as inspiration. I'll have it linked down below. Here's everything that I'm going to use. I've got some romaine lettuce, shredded cheese, that chicken breast that I mentioned earlier, and again, this was just seasoned with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. I'm going to chop that up. Some cherry tomatoes, black beans and corn that I'm going to drain both of those really well. I have some seasoned tortilla strips, ranch dressing, use your favorite. I like the semi-homemade version. It's just the Hidden Valley Ranch packet. And then barbecue sauce. Now, to assemble these, just lay down your lettuce, add the rest of your ingredients, add your dressing, give it a toss, and it is delicious. It's so yummy. For the next day, we'd had kind of a late lunch and a bigger lunch, and so my husband was not hungry at dinner time. I didn't want to fix anything complicated just for me, so I looked in the freezer and I had some of these spicy chicken patties from Tyson, some waffle fries, and then a couple hamburger patties, so I decided to just do some quick chicken sandwiches. I cooked the chicken patties and the waffle fries in my air fryer, and then I've liked my sandwiches really pretty simple. All I did on my chicken sandwich was just add some of the Chick-fil-A Polynesian sauce, and then when I go to Chick-fil-A, I love dipping their waffle fries in the Polynesian instead of ketchup, so I served some Polynesian sauce on the side for my waffle fries, and that was my dinner this night. Finally, this was New Year's Eve, so we just made some snacks. I made some taco dip. I've shared this. I'll link that video down below. Pigs in a blanket, Veggie Crescent Pizza, some chicken bacon ranch sliders, and then I just laid out some Alouette and crackers, and we snacked and watched movies and just had a good evening. All right, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you and your loved ones and family and friends have a very happy new year. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.